Good morning to you, Vishal. Vishal, we are unable to hear you for some reason now. You're not loud enough.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. But
My
you need
bad.
to,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, keep a mic closer to you. That would help.
I'll do that. I'll do that. That's
Okay.
manageable. That's fine.
You're audible now. Clear. Would request for a full screen.
Sure. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Vishal. I'm one of the co-founders of Advaris. And Advaris is India's first collateral management platform. What we are doing is we are automating the entire credit life cycle of a collateral using AI machine learning. So fundamentally, if you look at lending, right, there are two major underwriting parameters in the lending ecosystem. One is income and second is collateral. What Advaris purely focuses on is collateral. When I say collateral, it is immovable properties what we focus on. So the income journey is far more automated, right? Today, originations in the ecosystem are done based on CIBIL scores. Uh, Onboarding of an individual is quite straightforward, which is done through KYC. I'm audible, right?
Sorry. Yes, you're audible.
Yes, yes. Sorry. Yeah. Due diligence again of an individual is income assessment is done straightforward through automation, and the same is for the monitoring and I'll just hide the screen, hide video, loading video. Yeah. And same for monitoring of an income is quite easy, and same around recovery, right? But when you look at the same life cycle around a collateral, Advaris is actually automating that collateral side. So origination, a bank can come to us and ask us, Vishal, can you tell me which are the farmers in state of Rajasthan who don't have access to formal financial credit? And that's exactly what we give them. They can filter it based on crop. They can filter it based on the acre of that particular land parcel, right? We run those queries in our database and give it to them. Onboarding of a property, which was earlier manual, right? The farmer used to get his documents submitted to the financial institution and then get the loan. So the TAT for the farmer itself was around 2 weeks. That is something which has now reduced to a few minutes. He directly comes to the bank. He gives his address of that particular property, which then hits Advaris portal. We are in the backend integrated with all the state governments, and we give an output. Due diligence of the property again, which was earlier done through lawyers manually, is the leg which we have completely automated. And then monitoring of the properties on an ongoing basis. This is the hottest selling or fastest selling product for us, wherein we onboard the entire collateral portfolio of the financial institutions on our platform. And then we continuously monitor them and alert them if there is any credit negative event around that collateral. Uh, and lastly, recovery. So given what we have done is we have created a pan-India property database. We are able to search basis the name and different parameters around a particular defaulter and tell the financial institution what all other properties that particular individual owns.
Vishal, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, actually, the PPT
Oh,
got stuck. Yeah.
okay.
So from a positioning perspective, we are present across the credit life cycle, starting from origination, onboarding, due diligence, monitoring, and recovery, purely on the collateral side. If you look at the ecosystem, right, there are multiple. These are all the tier one players which we have mapped. They are present in few of the workflows across the credit life cycle, right? Some in origination, some in onboarding, but everyone on the income side purely. Advaris is the only one which is present across the credit life cycle, which is origination, onboarding, DD, monitoring, and recovery, and purely collateral, which is a completely niche space. If we look at the mortgage lending ecosystem altogether, there are more than 26 crore accounts which are backed by a property in terms of the bank sold some or other collateral in those accounts. And the number of properties would exceed 100 crore plus because a particular account could have multiple properties as well, right? Advaris, so primarily three few key points which I would like to highlight is that we have the largest property database in the country today with more than 35 crore properties. We are a deep tech company. We have built our own in-house translation engines, and we have built a very strong, robust platform from a technology perspective. We have sticky revenues because these are all enterprises, and we have signed contracts like 10 years with enterprises which are unheard of in the ecosystem. And overall, the opportunities for adversaries are high because this is a land grab opportunity per se. No other competitors in the ecosystem as of now focusing on the monitoring collateral piece. I'll quickly take you through the situation of the collateral or properties in the ecosystem. There are two types of property databases majorly. One is the revenue records and second is the transaction records. Land records, more than 22 states are digitized today, which contribute to more than 90% of the lending in the ecosystem. And property, when I say transaction database around a property, are today digital in 19 odd states. The only challenge is these are scattered across portals. More than 350 plus websites hold these databases. They are vernacular, their formats, terminologies across states is completely different. The rules across states are completely different. The websites are not stable. Very few states have now started exposing APIs. And all the websites from where we are pulling data, right? All this is dynamic in nature, so keeps changing. So we have to evolve or have to be on top of it continuously to ensure that we are up and running. So to do this, one first problem which we have solved is the extraction piece itself. We have built large distributed RPAs. We are able to do multi-document fetch at the same time. And we have basically built a very robust technology pipeline to source data from all these 350 government data sources. Followed by the data processing layer. So once we have these databases in our data lake, we then further do standardization of these databases in terms of terminologies, in terms of language, in terms of measurement units, is what we have achieved as an innovation from a technology perspective. Lastly, data intelligence on top of these databases. So we have standardized these databases. We have learned from banks, working very closely with them, what are the regional peculiarities around these records, and have incorporated that in the product. So the first bank we started with, we had around 10 scenarios which could be highlighted around a property. Today, as and when we kept on adding more and more banks, we have 42 plus scenarios which can be highlighted around the property. And overall, the way CIBIL has created a network effect for income data is exactly what we want to create for property data in the ecosystem. Yeah, this is just more about AdWords. This is our overall tech stack which we have built, starting from what types of databases, then robotic process data lake, what kind of engines, then further logics on top of that. Major pain points I've already covered, right? I'll again just throw some highlight. Origination today, banks don't have an alternate data. CIBIL holds around 16 crore records. AdWords, from a property database perspective, today, as on date, holds around 35 crore plus records. Onboarding of a property is very difficult. The TAT for the farmer itself is approximately 15 days to get sold those documents from the government databases. He has to visit the government office multiple times. That's what we have reduced. Now we have brought this decisioning leg from say a 3 weeks to 7 to 8 minutes is what we have helped financial institutions do. On the due diligence side, this was purely again manual. The bank used to give hard copies of these documents to the lawyers. Lawyers used to visit the bank, take these copies, take another 2 to 3 weeks to evaluate the property. Now what we have done is we have built a standardized format of the reports across country, and the bankers and the lawyers are on the same platform. We have more than 7,000 lawyers on the platform now, which is the highest in the ecosystem. And we auto-populate majority of the parameters in those 17 parameters, which then becomes like a efficient tool for the lawyers to deliver reports digitally and faster. So we are now seeing TAT of anywhere between 4 hours to 48 hours because of introduction of this particular product. And lastly, monitoring. This is the most innovative and, as I mentioned, the fastest selling product. We are onboarding the entire collateral portfolio of the financial institution. Earlier, they were manually not able to monitor at all this portfolio, is what they are now able to do. There is a regulatory mandate also to do it. It is just that they were not able to, it was not practical to do it. So financial institutions were not able to do it. Recovery is a simple product. We do perform a database search and give financial institutions what all other properties that particular defaulter owns. I'll just shift to another, I'll quickly take you through the monitoring product, which is our best selling product. So just take an example of this particular order, right, which is being inserted by the financial institution. So he'll input what all data points he had. what was the output from the government portal as on date is what we throw. And we extract this data, convert it into English, and compare and give as an output to the financial institution that there's no change in survey number, no change in ownership, no change in land size. But our institution charge is not found. Bank of Maharashtra Gramin Bank does not hold a charge, was our customer, right? Is being highlighted here. And post that, we also give a detailed report here, which is more an Excel report because a particular account could have multiple properties, right? So giving a account level view, sorry, this is a small report, but still this should also work. Account level view as well as a property level view is what we give to financial institution. So here, if you look at it, so this is an account level view wherein multiple parameters are
Vishal,
captured.
your time is up for the presentation.
Sorry, this is just the last thing I wanted to mention, and then we
Can we start the timer for the Q&A? And yes, you can continue. Let's start the timer for the Q&A then.
Sure. So we give a last observation, which is a scenario number for the financial institution in the account view, that this particular account, this is the scenario, and they can then further filter. So just imagine a financial institution which has crores of properties, just filtering their portfolio, saying 92% fall in scenario number one. So I need not add 8% I get scenarios. So actionables are defined against those scenarios, which the financial institutions can take. This is all from my side.
Thank you, Vishal. Team, at first would request you to please turn on your video if anyone of the team would like to be part of the Q&A session. Judas, we open for question. The timer is on. Exploring questions from the judo. Pranav sir, ma'am, Tarun sir, if you would like to go first.
Yeah. Can I? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Please.
Hi. Thanks, Vishal. Thanks for the presentation. So let's just. So what you have done is you have created a product which will connect the banks. Let's just talk about home loans, okay? Because that's probably the biggest application, right? Which will connect the banks to, let's say, the RERA side or to the local land record site, and they'll be able to verify whether the person applying for the loan or loan against property owns that property or not, and whether he has already mortgaged somebody else. So there is, at least in Maharashtra, I know the RERA website, all the housing loan businesses that do this, they log into the RERA website and they can see it in real time whether whether that land has been mortgaged, whom does it belong to, whether it's land, apartment, which apartment is, which building, they have the lat long, all of that. So the RERA website has this. So what exactly is your differentiation as compared to, let's say, the VERA website? I just want to understand that.
So we don't compete with RERA. RERA is probably one of the data sources from where we fetch data. If you look at us fundamentally, right, what we do is we make the property databases available, accessible, and usable for the financial institution. There are multiple use cases.
So you are a user interface.
We are not exactly a user interface only, because we read these data sources, we make sense out of these databases. Like home loan, you rightly mentioned, sir, from a value perspective could be a huge component. But if you look at it from a volume perspective, right, out of 26.3 crore accounts, only 1.5 crore are home loans, which is mortgages particularly, which is there. And new loans would be at the rate of 15%. So only 10 lakh out of the new loans which would be happening, which would be approximately 3 to 4 crores every year. So that's a smaller use case. But there, where we are used is for the legal due diligence. So even though the banker has an access to the RERA website, he'll carry out the legal due diligence, which is done via a lawyer, is a ecosystem practice that is primarily to safeguard the bank's interests as well. So that's where we will get involved. We have created a an intelligent workflow and a standardized format there, a 17-pointer standardized report, which is used by the financial institutions as well as the lawyer. The way it is helping is it is making the lawyers more efficient, and we are creating a digital repository of all the title due diligence for the financial institution, which they can use and replicate in the ecosystem, right? So suppose I've done a legal due diligence of a particular flat in a building, that can be actually replicated on all the flats in that building. So that's how it works.
Understood.
So RERA is one of the data sources, sir, is how you can look at it.
Thank you, Vishal. We'll move to the next shooter for the question. Ma'am, would you like to go for the question?
Yeah, I really like the social angle of this, that, but the other thing that I kind of liked about it is you're not assuming any changes in the ecosystem. So adoption is not going to be so difficult. But I just want to ask you what issues you face when you take this product in terms of adoption.
So, ma'am, it is just the sales cycle is pretty high because financial institutions take a lot of time in taking the decision. And at the same time, the teams involved, so it's not like just a credit solution or a legal solution. It is a joint solution wherein business gets involved, credit gets involved, legal gets involved. So the turnaround time for a sale or sales cycle is pretty high. Well, as in, it is in the range of 7 to 12 months is what you can say to convert a particular financial institution.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I also want to know, since you already have users, you have been able to sell this to. So what is there, because many times they do buy into these, but then they continue with their existing practice. So what has been your experience on that front?
No, ma'am, the traction is good overall. Whichever financial institutions we are onboarding, they are flowing 100% of volumes through us. So like ICICI Bank, we have onboarded, Axis, we have onboarded, SDFC, we recently onboarded. The challenge which we face is more from an operational efficiency perspective. Today, majority of the government portals, we are pulling this data through RPAs. So say a state loan and 350 websites doing RPA takes anywhere between 15 seconds to 60 seconds to pull that particular data. There are only 2 states who have given us direct integration, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan now, which has helped us reduce that operational time, turnaround time from 30, 60 seconds to milliseconds. So that's the long-term vision. We want to go and integrate with all the state governments so that our operational efficiency further improves, which also helps reduce cost, basically in delivering these solutions. Major way challenges.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We move to the next shooter.
I can go next.
Yes, sir,
No, this is really good work and presentation. 2 questions quickly. One, impact on your clients. Is it saving them money as well? I know it is making them more comprehensive, rigorous in monitoring, etc. But is it saving them money, or it's not efficiency play?
So we have seen 4 major impact in the ecosystem. Time and cost. Time and cost is definitely the fundamental in banking ecosystem. वो दो नहीं कर रहे हो आप तो आपका solution बिकेगा ही नहीं. Third, which we have enabled is centralized monitoring. Earlier, they were dependent on people who understand those languages to come up with an output or decision making in those records, right? Now it is all centralized. From sitting in Mumbai, they can actually have a complete 360-degree view of their entire collateral portfolio, which was not available to them earlier. They were highly dependent on branches. Fourth, which we have done is, sir, that we have actually upgraded them from a branch level intelligence to ecosystem level intelligence. So earlier, as I mentioned, right, ICICI Bank was as good as their branch manager or credit manager sitting in certain village of a particular state, right? Now they are as good as all the trade managers of all the banks in that region, because it's a collective intelligence of scenarios which you have built into the system. So say tomorrow, say this bank gets onboarded, right? They are already graduated to ecosystem level intelligence. So that these are the 4 major benefits which ecosystem is looking at. Then they have their own, but these are the 4 major benefits which the banks appreciate.
Understood. And second question I had was, Vishal, what is the scale for yourself today? How big are you guys in terms of, let's say, revenue, and how big you think this can become, let's say, in some foreseeable future?
Sure. Sir, to the members also, I wanted to highlight, I just got to know we made a wrong filing there. We selected level 1. Actually, we are in level 4 today. Sir, last year we were at a MRR, started the year with a MRR of 40 lakhs. We ended with a MRR of 1 crore odd. And this year we are already at an MRR of 2.5 crore.
Okay.
And from a number of properties perspective, we have captured the private ecosystem as of now from a monitoring perspective. We have got 2 more new contracts of public sector banks. So we will scale really fast. Public sector bank has very deep penetration in rural, and their overall agri-tech portfolio would be like, agri portfolio would be 50% of the ecosystem. Private banks from a volume perspective are only 0.5% of the ecosystem in agri per se. Agri is our GTM, and eventually banks then onboard us for urban as well. ICICI Bank, they were the first one to start with us. They onboarded agri portfolio, then they eventually onboarded the urban also. Same is the scene we are seeing everywhere. Same for HDFC Bank, same for Axis Bank. So we are hopeful that even public sector bank will see the same evolution. And we are trying to work with the rural cooperative banks also now. We have got a inroad there with the help of NABARD now.
Thank you, Vishal, and thank you to the jurors for your question, Vishal and Sumit. Thank you for your time. The time is closing now for the Q&A as well, and wish you the best with your innovations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really nice.